You don't apply for this program. You get selected. It begins with a quiet conversation in a windowless room. No recruitment posters, no online forms, no background check you ever saw. One day, you're doing your ordinary government job, analyzing satellite imagery, writing reports no one reads, or translating intercepted chatter. And the next day, two men in identical dark suits sit across from you and say the words that change everything. We've been watching you. We think you're ready. They never tell you the name of the program. They never give you a badge or a business card. They simply hand you a single encrypted drive and tell you to be at a certain address at 0400 hours. No questions, no refusal. That is how you enter the world of the secret intelligence program. At the lowest level, you are invisible. You sit in a basement room with no windows and 20 monitors glowing softly in the dark. Your job is data analysis. You watch hours of footage. People walking through airports, making phone calls in cafes, arguing in their living rooms. You learn how people lie, the micro expressions, the slight hesitation before a false answer, the way their eyes dart when they're hiding something. You also learn how systems hide truth, redacted files, overlapping jurisdictions, budgets that don't add up. You are a ghost inside the machine. No one knows your real name here. You have no desk plaque, no email signature, no face on any organizational chart. You simply watch, catalog, and flag. Sometimes you spend entire nights cross-referencing a single name that appears in 3 different countries under 3 different identities. You start to see the world not as nations or cities, but as layers of overlapping deceptions. You tell yourself this is important work, that you're protecting something bigger. But deep down, you already feel the weight, the quiet erosion of normal life. Friends stop calling because you can never explain where you've been. Family notices you've become distant, careful with every word. Still, you stay, because the more you see, the more you realize how little you knew before. Each new rank changes everything. When they promote you, there's no ceremony, just a new access card that opens one more door, one more server, one more vault of secrets. Suddenly, you're no longer just watching raw data. You're reading finished intelligence reports. You see the names behind the operations. You learn why certain people were removed from their positions, why certain flights were allowed to disappear from radar, why certain stories never made it to the news. With every increase in clearance comes more access, and more things you were never meant to know. You read files about operations that officially never happened. You see photographs of world leaders shaking hands with men who are supposed to be dead. You listen to recordings of conversations that could topple governments. The weight grows heavier with each promotion. Sleep becomes fragmented. You wake up at 3 a.m., running through timelines in your head, wondering which pieces don't fit. You become very good at compartmentalizing. You learn to lock certain truths away in mental boxes and never open them unless ordered. But the boxes are getting full. Then the patterns begin to emerge. At first, they're small things. A file that was there yesterday is gone today. A name that appeared in 6 different reports suddenly has no digital footprint at all. Operations listed as completed successfully show 0 follow-up documentation, as if the entire event was erased after the fact. You start noticing how some files seem to rewrite themselves. Dates shift, conclusions change. People you flagged as high-risk assets weeks ago are now listed as neutralized with no explanation. You mention it once to a superior. He looks at you for a long second and says quietly, "Stop looking where you're not supposed to look." But you can't stop. The deeper you go, the clearer the shape becomes. This program isn't just collecting intelligence, it's managing reality, deciding which truths the world is allowed to keep and which ones must disappear. You see names of colleagues who simply stopped coming to work one day. Their files don't exist anymore. It's as if they were never part of the program. You keep climbing anyway, because once you've seen this much, turning back feels impossible. One night, after years of silent service, you're granted the highest clearance level. They take you alone into a room deep underground. No cameras, no recording devices, just a single terminal and a chair. The screen lights up with files that have no names, only code designations. You read for hours. The truth is not what you expected. It's bigger, much bigger. The program isn't protecting the country, it's protecting something older, something that exists above nations and governments. You see evidence of operations spanning decades, shaping elections, economies, even wars, not to win them, but to keep them balanced at a certain level of controlled chaos. You see how certain technologies were suppressed, how certain voices were silenced before they could speak. And then you find the file with your own name, not your operational alias, your real name, the one you haven't used in public for years. It contains every detail of your life since the day you were selected. Medical records, private conversations, thoughts you only wrote in encrypted personal journals. There are notes about your loyalty, your growing doubts, your usefulness window. You are not just an employee, you are part of the experiment. The realization hits you like ice water. Every promotion, every secret you are allowed to see, it was all measured. They wanted to know how much truth a human mind could carry before it broke or rebelled. You sit there in the cold glow of the monitor, heart pounding, and understand the final truth. Once you reach the highest level, there is no longer any illusion of safety. You decide to leave the program. You don't make a scene, you don't steal files or send dramatic messages. You simply submit the quiet request through the proper encrypted channel. Voluntary separation due to accumulated psychological strain. Standard procedure. To your surprise, they approve it within hours. They let you go. No interrogation, no threats, just a polite escort to the surface, a final handshake, and the words, "Thank you for your service." You walk out into the morning air feeling something close to relief. The sun feels too bright. The city sounds too loud. You go home, delete what little evidence remains on your personal devices, and try to imagine a normal life again. The next morning, you wake up and go about your day. You stop at the usual coffee shop. The barista smiles and asks how you are, but she calls you by a name that isn't yours. When you correct her, she laughs awkwardly and says she must have mixed you up with someone else. At your old government office, your desk is occupied by a stranger. When you ask about your position, the manager looks at you with polite confusion. "I'm sorry, we don't have any record of you working here." You check your bank account. The payments from the program are gone. Your security clearance no longer exists in any system. You try calling old colleagues. Their numbers are disconnected. Social media profiles you once appeared in have been altered. You're cropped out of photos, tagged as unidentified person. By afternoon, the panic sets in. You never existed here. Not in this building, not in this city, not in the memories of the people who once worked beside you for years. The program didn't kill you. They simply removed the version of reality that included you. And now you are truly invisible, not by choice, but by design. You look up at the security cameras on the streetlights and wonder if someone, somewhere, is still watching, still cataloging, still deciding what the world is allowed to remember. And you understand with terrifying clarity that you were never meant to leave. You were only meant to be forgotten.